Ciao, travelers, and welcome to our episode. We are, I believe, episode 3 of season 2. I apologize about the delay. I did this last week, but I filmed it in cinematic, and then there was a lag when I uploaded it, and then life got to me. So this year I'm teaching solo, so I miss you, Sam. So I have a lot less time during the school day to research and do other things. So just so you know. So before we get into our topic, which is about time zones, the Prime Meridian, and the International Dateline, let's get into some trivia. All right, let's do this one first. Okay, I apologize. The cats are running around upstairs. Oh, now they're downstairs. Okay. All right. What is the biggest city in China? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's Shanghai. That's somewhere I would like to visit. Africa produces the most of which type of bean? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some people say cocoa. I say cacao bean. And last but not least, at 14,370 feet above sea level, which South American country has the highest soccer stadium? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is Peru. Okay. Now that is done. Let's get into our podcast. So, obviously, you can be like, well, we need time zones because we need to know the time. Well, that is totally correct. But why do we have it and how do we get it? Excuse me, I'm sipping on hot tea. It's cold up here. All right, so the evolution of timekeeping before standardization. And what that means is that like everywhere on Earth, we have the same tools and same concepts that we're using to tell time. So before time zones existed, time was highly local. For example, noon in one town could be several minutes different from noon in another town only a few dozen miles away. The difference did not matter when people traveled by foot or horseback, but steam trains changed everything. So this is again where we had that massive change in the Industrial Revolution, how it changed so many things, and one of them is time zones. Railroads required strict timetables to avoid collisions and ensure reliability. Telegraphs allowed messages to travel at unprecedented speeds. By receiving a message stamped with a different local time zone caused confusion. So what a telegraph is the precursor to the telephone, but really it was like a text messaging system. And usually along railroads is where you put the telegraph poles. We used to have them when I was younger along our tracks, and they got rid of a lot of them, but sometimes I do find on really old kind of abandoned lines, you can find them there. But I was always interested, and I have some glass insulators. That's what the wire goes around. So as industries and economies expanded, it became clear that the world needed a standardization system to organize time. Okay, so a little background on why it's necessary. The Earth rotates 360 degrees every 24 hours, meaning it turns about 15 degrees each hour. So degrees a unit of, like, it's a way to measure. It's like temperature, but this is angles. This natural division led to the idea of dividing the world into 24 standard time zones, each representing an hour difference. Instead of every city keeping its own solar time, regions would agree to follow a shared official time based on their position relative to a chosen reference line. And this is where the idea of Prime Meridian and International Dateline come in. The benefits of the system were enormous. Train schedules could be coordinated more safely. Telegraph communication became easier to understand as people could interpret time stamps differently, consistently. Oh my gosh, I just messed that up. Excuse me. International business became more manageable as companies could plan meetings, shipping times, and financial exchanges with a shared understanding of an hour. So even if you think of it now, like when you got something on Amazon or you watch something on streaming, it has a set time for delivery or a set time to show in that certain time zone. Okay, so when aviation, global broadcasting, computer networks, and the internet really would be impossible without standardized global time. Think about it, you're flying a plane, you go from point A to point B, it needs to be consistent. All right, so the establishment of the Prime Meridian. To create a global time system, the world needed a universal 0 point for longitude. This point became known as the Prime Meridian. In 1884, at the International Meridian Conference held in Washington, D.C., representatives from 25 nations met to decide on a single global meridian. They selected the meridian passing through the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England, for several reasons. First, many of the world's nautical charts already use Greenwich as a reference point because of Britain's global influence, and that's big. Britain had the largest empire at that time, so it makes sense it's going to be swayed to the likings of what Britain wants. Second, adopting one universally recognized line would immediately reduce confusion in navigation, trade, and mapping. The Prime Meridian was established at 0 degrees longitude, serving as the starting point for measuring all other longitudes east and west. This also allowed for the creation of universal time, eventually known as UTC, which anchors every time zone on the planet. Without the Prime Meridian, time zones would lack a consistent reference system, and international coordination would be far more chaotic. So now this is the flip side. This is now the international date line. So directly opposite of the Prime Meridian, roughly along the 180-degree line of longitude, lies the international date line. While the Prime Meridian establishes where time zones begin, the dateline establishes where the calendar day changes. When travelers cross this line from east to west, they move forward by 1 calendar day. When traveling west to east, they go back 1 day. So if I'm leaving to New York, I would have to connect through San Francisco or Los Angeles. And then say I want to visit my friends in Melbourne, okay, it would be the next calendar day. And then vice versa, when I'm going to Melbourne back to the United States, I would get back that day before. This system ensures the global calendar remains consistent even as different regions experience daytime and nighttime at different moments. So I want you to think, before I move on, the Prime Meridian runs through United Kingdom and it goes all the way down, to Africa, and it hits a lot of land. Why do you think the international date line is in the Pacific Ocean? Okay, and the reason is it's because there's not a lot of land there. So you could do that gap of 1 day later and 1 day before because there's just island nations in there. And especially at that time, a lot of them weren't inhabited or discovered. So that's the reason why the international date line is not through Greenwich. It's in the Pacific because if you fly from one part to the other, you're hitting a lot less land. So they're island nations versus doing it in the middle or where most of the land is, it would be much more confusion. Okay, so now let's go back to, the dateline does not follow a perfectly straight path. It zigzags to avoid splitting countries or island groups into different calendar days. For example, Samoa and Kiribati adjusted their positions relative to the dateline for economic and cultural reasons, choosing to align their calendars with nearby trading partners instead of distant ones. By allowing flexibility, the international dateline maintains consistency while respecting political and social realities. All right. Okay, sorry, Lola was getting very close to the camera. All right, so how these systems work together. Time zones, the Prime Meridian, and the international dateline form an interconnected network that keeps the world synchronized. The Prime Meridian provides the 0 reference for measuring longitude and time. The time zones offer a practical way to divide the globe according to the Earth's rotation. The international dateline completes the system by ensuring that the world observes a uniform calendar even as different regions experience different daylight hours. Okay, together these three elements allow for smooth coordination across nations. And as we said, the technologies and how the world advanced today is really has come to fruition due to time zones, the Prime Meridian, and the International Dateline. All right, why it still matters today. So although technology has advanced dramatically since the 19th century, the need for standardized timekeeping is even greater today. The world operates on a 24-hour cycle of communication, commerce, transportation, and digital interaction. Satellites, computer networks, and international cooperation depend on accurate and consistent time. Time zones prevent chaos, and the Prime Meridian and the International Dateline anchor that structure in a way that all nations can understand and use. All right, so let's do another question. Which country has the most time zones? Think about country size, especially going from west to east or east to west. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Russia. Russia is a very large, expansive country. Okay, so let's get into a little trivia. I hope you enjoyed that. So, okay, Seoul is the capital of which country? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is South Korea. I would like to go there one day. Okay. All right, this is in Africa. What is the capital of Libya? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Tripoli. Okay. Which country is the largest producer and exporters of Brazil nuts? Hint, it's not Brazil. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Bolivia. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for joining in this episode. Any suggestions, DM me, message me, and enjoy Thanksgiving. If you're in the United States, this should be up by then. Unless if there's another snafu, then I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, if you know geography, you know anyone. I feel like I really need to get that term down, but that'll work for now. Ciao, travelers.